There are two things you can do before you even move the club away that are going to help you produce more club head speed next time you get on the golf course. I guarantee it. So we're going to be talking about developing triggers. A trigger is just something that helps us start a movement. It stops us getting static, stuck, still down here. So this might be you, this might be the guys or ladies you play with that you see they're still too long over the golf ball, in which case share this tip with them, make them watch this video. It's really going to help. The first tip is going to help you produce a bigger turn off the golf ball, as well as, again, reducing that static time. And this one is something that the great Jack Nicklaus does, and he still does. Before he starts his golf swing, he just tilts his head, and he tilts it so chin goes towards the target, his head, top of his head goes away from it. So he's tilting this way, as if his right eye is almost looking down towards the golf ball. Now, if you do this with me, as you tilt this way, it's easier to actually make a bigger turn. Imagine doing the opposite movement. If I tilt in that direction and now try and turn, I'm limited. And I feel like my pressure is more over my lead foot. Now, when we are talking about producing speed, we do want to shift some pressure. We want it to move to our trail foot, to move back to our lead foot. So we want to feel like there is an early shift of pressure into my trail thigh. Tilting behind the golf ball makes that bigger turn and feels like I'm going to move slightly behind the golf ball, which is especially important with this club, because with the driver we want to hit the ball on the way up ideally. So let's just try that before we talk about the second tip. Really, really simple. Nothing's going to be technical in this video. Before I start the movement, I'm just going to tilt, and I'm going to make sure it's almost the last thing I do before I start the movement, because we want the triggers to be immediate. We don't want to do it and then wait and wait and wait and think, when am I going to start my golf swing? We want it to be the last thing. So you look at the target, back, tilt, go. Okay? So no hanging around. Give it a whirl. Look at the target, tilt, swing. Now, I wouldn't suggest talking while swinging, but it worked for me. I don't hit them much better than that. I will 100% take it about as straight as I hit the golf ball there. Really, really happy with that one. So all I concentrated on before I started the swing was a little tilt of my head, as if my trail ear is almost going to the ground, and then start the movement. And it just feels like it shifts that pressure early into my trail foot. I feel like I can make a bigger coil off the golf ball. So if you are limited in rotation, maybe a senior golfer or someone struggling with some injury or mobility, that movement again can really help you create some more rotation, as will this next one. Still a trigger, and this one is something we see quite commonly, but you'll definitely see Rory McIlroy do this, and he actually does it with all the clubs, but it's very pronounced with his driver. He actually, before he starts, his almost first movement is this trail knee. So what happens is his hips bump. I want you to watch him next time he's on the TV, and he's always on there, and they're always showing coverage of him, and they're always showing slow-mo coverage of his golf swing as well. You'll see this very early bump with his pelvis away from the target, and you'll see almost pushes his trail knee slightly forward. So it's almost like he sinks slightly, a little bit of pressure into that trail knee and that trail side. And actually the pressure goes slightly more towards his toe. And it's an equal opposite movement. So he starts his golf swing with a little movement towards his trail toe with that knee movement and that hip movement. Now it encourages him to wind up and actually get the pressure more into his trail heel. The benefit of that, bigger hip rotation. The benefit of bigger hip rotation, bigger shoulder turn. So we can get our arms further away from the golf ball. We can produce more club head speed. So how you're going to do it, you can still combine the two things. So you could tilt your head and then just feel like the first movement is a little bump and that little bit of pressure into the trail toe, just in that takeaway movement. The other benefit of that is it can stop this early inside movement that we see with so many people. So it's going to help keep that club a little straighter and then turn of the hip. Okay, so let's give that a go. I'm going to combine the two things. So I'm set up ready to go. I'm going to tilt my head and I'm just going to feel like there's a little bit of press into my trail toe in the takeaway. And that's going to help me then do the opposite movement in the backswing. So my pressure is going to go trail toe, trail heel. Okay, as I wind up, complete that hip turn, that hip rotation. Rotate, push. That one just was a little bit high out the head, but again, a very straight ball flight, pretty good with the distance. It was a good club head speed. It wasn't my most efficient strike. It was just a little bit high out the head. It can be hard to initially, well, for me, trying to talk through them and do these things. You may just want to try one of those things first of all on the driving range, but perhaps you could ingrain the two moves there. They're both designed around less static time over the golf ball and creating a bigger turn and an earlier shift as well. The benefit, as I said, of that second one there, the Rory McIlroy little hip bump with the pressure into the toe, is we can go toe and then heel. So it's that opposite movement. And that first move of toe can help you keep the club just a little straighter in that takeaway. Whereas I see a lot of golfers with that early falter whipping the club behind them. So if you are struggling with that move, maybe you want to feel a little bit more into that trail toe in that first movement before that hip starts to rotate and that pressure goes into the heel. Give them a go. They're so simple. Without doing anything technical, I'm sure you can increase your club head speed. If that does help, make sure you smash the thumbs up, like this video, share it with as many golfers as you can. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content just like this.